Hello, word nerds, and happy Sunday, and welcome to another write-in. I am super excited to write words because I, like pretty much everyone else, is extremely behind. So let's write all the words together. So how are you guys doing with your nano projects or just your whatever you're doing this November? Erin, I have you first.
I am once again doing edits this nano. I think I have like the last 3 nanos as well. And they're due tonight, so I better be finished by then. No pressure or anything.
The best motivator.
Yep.
All right, Emma, I have you next.
I'm in the same place I was at last night when we did a write-in. Just under 15,000 words. I've been doing school assignments all day today, so I'm going to take a short break and do some writing during this write-in, and then I have to go back to other stuff. So.
Fun. All right. Kat, I have you next.
Okay, just a second. I'm trying to get back to our screen here. I was just going to actually check where I was at in Nano. I'm about halfway done now. Fell a little behind because of we went to this conference called 20 Books, I guess. Me, Mickey, and Kelly did, so it's kind of set us off for a week.
All right, Kelly, you're next.
I am at about 27,000 on my nano project, so like a day or so behind, but I've been doing some other writing as well, so still feeling pretty good about November.
Awesome. Mickey, you're next.
I have not started my nano project, which is bad news, but I did write this month. I'm also at about 15K, and I'm planning on starting my nano project tomorrow. So as long as I start tomorrow, I have no qualms finishing it before the end of November. So we're good.
You have a really cute cat.
Oh yeah, he'll hang around.
All right, Rachel.
Oh, well, I'm not doing nano this month. I'm just doing a lot of homework. So one term paper I have finished, so I'm pretty happy about that. But the second one is still in process, so that's what I will be working on tonight.
Fun. Homework is the best.
Oh yeah.
All right, Megan, you're next.
I don't know. So I wrote a decent amount while I was on vacation last week. I went to San Diego for 7 days, and that was really fun. I'm probably 5-ish chapters away from the end of my draft. But I forgot to input my word count to the Nano website, and so I don't actually know. It's not close to where it's supposed to be. Probably like 5,000 to 7,000. So we'll see. But hopefully, I'm gonna get real close to finishing the book tonight.
That's awesome. All right. So our first sprint, we're gonna do a 20-minute.
Sounds good.
You guys want to start at the 40 or the 45? Is 2 minutes too soon?
I'm ready.
Yeah, let's at the 40.
Do it.
Jump into it.
I'm never gonna feel ready.
Facts. All right. So today, since American Thanksgiving is on Thursday, all of our prompts tonight are Thanksgiving themed. And as always, you don't have to use the prompts, but they are there if you would like some help. Our first prompt is cranberry sauce. Write about a bittersweet moment.
Aww, bless.
I like it.
I feel really clever when I come up with them.
That was a good one. I like that.
Thank you.
I always hate doing prompts on my weeks. Like, nothing is ever. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Welcome to everyone who's in the discussion section. Also, feel free to ask us any writing or bookish questions, and we'd love to answer them for you in between sprints. Looks like we've got a lot of people kind of all over the board. We've got people who are ahead, people who are behind, people who are right where they're supposed to be. Valerie said, "Love your lip color, Jens."
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
thanks.
like it.
That's where I always have the best lip colors.
I just like really weird colors on my mouth.
And Rachel has cool colors too.
No, thank you. I'm just like, why pick a pink when you could pick a blue or a green
Exactly.
or a black?
Exactly.
Oh, it is 4:40. Or sorry, in my time zone it's 4:40, but it is the 40.
All right. We will see you guys in 20 minutes.
Thanks.
And time. 20 minutes goes by really, really fast.
Oh my gosh, it scared me.
All right, so how'd you guys do?
I got just under 200. It's like 244 words. Looks like.
Nice.
Good.
Awesome. I got 604 words that time.
Nice.
I got 424.
I got 517.
Nice.
Nice.
I got 686.
Ooh.
Ooh, nice.
Oh.
I barely got any because I had to go back and research something in the first book.
Classic writing. People are sharing their word counts in the discussion section. You guys are doing so great. We had a question from Made in the SOS. Pantsing used to work for me but doesn't anymore, but I have yet to find a planning method that works for me either. What do you recommend?
Actually, I have been a pantser for a while, but I've been trying to get a little faster as to how many words I can get in a sprint and just generally trying to plan a little bit better. So I have been using note cards. So instead of just making a whole outline, I'll write the scenes that I know I want to hit on these note cards, and then as I write, I start to either add note cards or I'll take the ones that I've already used or aren't going to use anymore away, and I keep adding them so that I know at least what the next few scenes are going to be. And that's helped me get faster at writing, but also just to plot more than I was before, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I kind of use like a really loose plot in the first place. Just like even just a 3-act structure kind of thing. Just to give me a general idea. And then I'll kind of just pants in between the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like super detailed outlines don't work for me. Like I just I can't do it.
I would definitely recommend reading a lot of different books on outlining, because I'm sure like all of us do slightly different things. And so just the more ideas you have, the more you can kind of tailor them to fit what is going to work best for you. Two that I really like are Take Off Your Pants, Outline Your Books for Faster, Better Writing. This is a really good one if like you were a hardcore pantser and you have no clue where to start. This will walk you through. And then if you want something a little more detailed and definitely denser, John Truby's The Anatomy of Story is kind of like the Bible on coming up with an outline for your stories. And yeah, you don't have to do any one thing exactly. I have that on the brain because I just filmed my video for tomorrow and it's on that. Hopefully you're able to find something that works.
I like the title of the first book.
Yeah.
It's a really good book. I've read it too.
Also very relevant to writers because we rarely wear pants. So
Facts.
Let's see. We've got so much going on in the discussion section. Thank you all for being here.
Lots of people saying they use note cards. I've started using sticky notes, which is awesome because then I can stick them on my walls.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I buy the extra large ones.
Yeah.
Kind of in a similar vein, we had a question. This year, I only have a vague outline for the second half of my novel. I know a few major scenes and somewhat of an ending. Any tips on how to figure out a way to connect all these ideas?
It's like the bane of my existence.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I was like,
I got this cool
struggle with that
idea
so
and this
much.
cool idea, and I'm like, kiss.
Well, I think I was talking about it on the Nano channel yesterday. We were talking about like when you're stuck and you don't know what to do. So one of the authors that I follow, she will brainstorm 10 to 20 different things that could happen at any given moment if she feels stuck. So that could be something you could do for your entire novel if you're having, you know, points where you're not really sure what could happen. Things that could happen between those points that would lead to that point, or just anything in general, but brainstorming, you know, maybe 10 or 20 different things, anything that could happen, and then picking the things that you actually like.
Yes, I love doing that as well. And even just taking 20 minutes to sit down and just write all of the, I call them flashes, like things that you have pop into your head that you want to put in this book. Like, oh, I want an epic sword fight, and I want this line of banter, and I want this here, and this and that. And then once you have that list, you can look at it and be like, okay, well, this is part of the romance, so it needs to happen in the last third of the book. This sword fight could happen pretty early. That would be fun, so I could put that here. And the more you come up with, the more pieces are going to start coming together. And you'll be able to see like, okay, well, if I'm going to put this sword fight at the beginning, then how do I get them fighting? So this needs to happen. And just thinking a lot about like one thing leads to another. So how do we get there?
And since like, if I heard the question right, I was like distracted by other things, but since it's like figuring out the second half of the book, you can also kind of look back at the first half and look for some of maybe those smaller things that you set up that you should reference again, or that you could bring back again. Because if you introduce something like in the first half of the book, you want it to make some sort of appearance in the second half again. So.
Do you want to do our next sprint at the 10?
That sounds great.
Sure.
I had someone comment that they had, someone also named Megan, comment they had messaged me on Nano. Sorry I missed it. I have not been on the Nano website very much because I am ashamed and don't want to look at my but she said she asked a question, so I just pulled it up. So thank you for the Nano encouragement. And the question was how our channel came to be and how we met, and if we're ever looking for new word nerds. And we actually have a video about this in our FAQs. So at the beginning of the next sprint, I will grab that for you and put the link in the discussion section. But thank you for your message. I'm sorry that I did not see it when you sent it.
You also have valid excuses of having a very small child and being very busy, so I feel like you're okay.
But I know the real reason I didn't look at the Nano. And it was
I also just never check my Nano messages, so like if someone messages me,
Guilty.
I'll go in like every now and then and just try and check them all, because I do like to like add everyone back as buddies and stuff. So
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and I have 236 unread because it's the
Oh man.
There's so
All
much
the
in there.
pep
I'm never gonna.
talks.
Yeah, I'm never gonna get.
217 unread.
Now I'm looking at mine like, oh God.
I'm not gonna look at mine. Seeing unread messages makes me feel anxious, so I'm just gonna ignore that.
Oh God.
if I missed your question, there's a chance that we'll get to it after the next sprint. But also, if we don't get to it, please feel free to re-ask it. I'm not purposely skipping anyone's questions, just there's a lot going on. And sometimes they just go all the way up into discussion section black holes.
This sprint's prompt is Black Friday. Write about a mad dash for something your character wants.
Ooh.
Bless.
I like it.
Yes, I can totally fit that in. I'm so excited.
That's exactly what's happening in my
Yep. Finally, I never get to use the prompts.
Yeah.
And if you missed that, I do put all of the prompts and sprint information in the discussion section. So keep an eye out for that.
And it is the 10. So see you guys at the 30. and time. How did everyone do?
If that doesn't sum up the evening, I don't know what does.
I got very distracted and started making my to-do list for the week, and then frantically wrote 44 words.
I got into a really intense scene, and those always make me write faster. So I got 695 words.
Yay! That's
Nice.
awesome. I think I got 352. I didn't really mark where I left off, but I think that was.
I, like Megan, got terribly distracted and started looking for songs that match my playlist for my story, which isn't super helpful.
That is right.
So helpful. Yeah, I was like skipping around like in different files, so I don't even know. I think it was like 160 words total or something. Like finished one scene and I was like, I don't want to start another one. Other scenes, I was like, this counts.
Yeah. My problem was that I knew the character was supposed to cause a distraction, and I was like, oh, I'll just come up with a distraction when I get there. I was like, I don't know what that's going to be. I have a lot to do this week. Maybe I should think about that instead.
And then you got distracted.
I got 895.
Ooh,
Nice.
that was a nice chunk.
We've got people sharing their word counts in the discussion section. You guys are doing so great. Keep up the good work. We had a couple questions that I know I missed before we started the sprint. So this one is from, where did it go? Large literature lover. I am way behind and finding myself feeling bored sometimes. What is your suggestion to catch up?
Probably you're behind because you're bored. So throw some terrible things at your characters. That's always my advice.
And like if you're bored, then like readers will probably be bored too. So figure out like how to add more tension into what you're writing and more conflict. So you're probably like missing some of that if you're finding it boring.
My favorite thing to do when I am starting to feel bored and starting to feel like I just want to stop the whole thing is that I look at my cast of characters and decide one of them has been a double agent the whole time, and I will and then just keep going.
Yes,
Very nice.
I like that idea.
It's Megan's problem.
Now we know what the plot twist in all of Megan's books will be.
I don't know by now that all my characters are terrible people. Like, have you even been watching our videos?
It's true. Plus.
True.
We had another question. Tiffany asked, how do you manage writing a good story in such a small amount of words? I'm guessing that means 50K. I feel like this second half of Nano, I'm rushing the story to fit everything in. I just want a coherent plot.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons I don't like. I participate in Nano, but I don't like constrict myself to just 50,000 words or rushing to finish the 50,000 words, because if I do that often, it ends up being filler. And yeah, my plot will be like, oh, now we're going over here and now we're questing for 3 days, and like it's me trying to jam all the words in. So I'm careful not to do that, because I've ended up with books that are just like pure nonsense because of that. So I think not pressuring yourself to rush and go off into the nether sphere is important.
Yeah, I would say like winning Nano just means that you wrote 50,000 words of the book. Like there can be more of the book afterwards that you write.
Definitely. Yeah. Mine are always more than 50,000, even if I do win Nano, which rarely happens. But hey.
Let's see.
And like 50K is pretty short for a lot of genres. So
Mm-hmm.
probably want your book to be a little longer than that anyway.
Yeah, even my middle grades are much, much longer than that.
Well, I think also you don't have to like finish the whole novel. You just have to write 50,000 words. So don't like have that pressure of like I need to make it fit within the confines of it. Like just write 50,000. If it ends up being 80,000, like that's great.
Sure. We had a question from Megan asking what our favorite writing snacks are.
Sour gummies.
Chocolate.
Yes. Discount Halloween candy is like my favorite Nano snack.
I don't know if I have a favorite snack that I eat while writing, but while we were in Vegas, I was trying to find some snacks, and these pretzel crisps were really good. Like I'm obsessed with those now.
Yeah, I like food a little too much, and so if I'm eating while I'm writing, then I'm gonna stop writing. Usually I'll like reward myself with something after, like, oh, well, if I finish this scene, then I can go eat some more Halloween candy that's starting to get sick. Or if I'm having a really big day, I can go get tacos or something.
I feel like tacos comes up a lot for you.
And I was just in San Diego, which has really good tacos. I think about them all the time. I had Mexican food like 5 times in 1 week while I was out there, because you just can't get it in Georgia.
We're definitely having a similar discussion last chat about how so many of us think about pizza all the time. So it's legitimate.
Pizza in so long. What am I doing?
What am I doing with my life?
We also had a question from Megan about what our favorite writing software is.
I just use
Yeah.
It's
I
Google.
use Word too.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
I use a combination between like Word and Google Docs.
Yeah, I need to use Google Docs for the amount of like manuscripts I've lost.
I like being able to access it like in different places too, you know, on a different device or something. And then I don't have to worry about like saving it on like a flash drive or the cloud or any of that. So I'm not cloud.
I used to be like a total crazy person and switch between Scrivener and Word, and it would be like switching a lot.
Oh.
Because I would plot in Scrivener and then move it to Word to edit, and then move it back to Scrivener because I wanted to move scenes around. I don't do that anymore. It's exhausting. I'm just thinking about it.
Yeah, I would usually do one switch. Like I would draft Scrivener, and then once revisions time came, it went to Word and did not go back. But for the words, I just screwed that all up. So now I'm doing all my drafting in For the Words.
It's a mess right now because like it's between For the Words and a Google Doc, because like I don't want to depend on it all being in For the Words. Like I want it backed up in Google Docs. So I'm like constantly copying and pasting back and forth, and then like I'll change something and then I have to go back and change it in the other one. It's a mess. And then, like currently I also, since I'm like working on my current book for Nano, I have a separate file just for all the new Nano words to keep track of like how much I've written. So there's like 3 different files. It's a mess.
I realized that one of the quests on For the Words for the special ones for Nano was 50,000 word one, and I added that quest at the beginning of the month. So I do know my total word count, and it was about 5,000. So great guessing, not great word count. Let's see. Aloe Vera said, I don't know what to write from here. Frowny face. So anyone have any tips for them?
So same advice as usual.
Well, like what's your
stabbed?
It's always violence for some reason. I'd say figure out like what do your characters want. Like obviously they've gone on a story doing something. So what are they still missing from that? Like are they missing a person, or are they stuck in a place? Like why are they not getting what their goal is? Why are they not getting what they're going after? And see if you can work something in with that.
Sometimes I find what helps is because sometimes I get stuck thinking about what's my hero doing, but if I flip it around and think what's my villain's next step, that very often helps me figure out where the plot is going next, because the villain is always usually going to be very proactive and trying to get what he or she wants.
Autumn asked, how do you write 5K in a day?
One word at a time.
I don't.
I feel like that's what sprints are for. And make sure you take breaks in between if you're like me and you're like, oh, I've written 2,000 and my brain is mush. And then it's tempting to just quit. But I'll put my timer on for like 5 minutes and be like, okay, I can have a break and walk around and then get back to it.
Yeah, I start early. It's like,
good, yeah.
I'm going to get that many words in a day, then I've got to start early. So.
For sure.
Yeah. I think 5,000 words in a day is a lot. That's a lot of
It
words.
is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of words.
2,000 is a lot for me. Like that's what I try to get when I'm drafting in a day, and it feels like a lot.
I'd also figure out like what you're going to be writing. Don't just start writing and be like, we'll just, just start hitting keys. Like, yeah, because then you're just gonna have 5,000 words of nothing, and it's just, well, maybe not nothing, but there's still 5,000 words. But it's just gonna be like random stuff that you don't really need.
I always get mad at myself and at the book and at the person who gives me a weird look as they're walking by my house. Because I feel like I should be going faster, but I have no clue where I'm going to go. And so then an hour passes and I've written 500 words and I'm furious because there's no way I'm going to hit 5,000 now. So having the plan makes a huge difference.
Definitely. Like I know I said this in the last chat, but that's why like I do the timing with the timer and the breaks and everything, but I always make sure I have at the end of each scene like this and this and this happen in the next scene. So when I sit down to write, I already know exactly what's going to happen. So I don't sit there and stare at my blank screen in terror.
Also, I feel like if you're really stuck, don't feel like you have to keep going with the same scene. Like jump around to maybe another scene, or like work on one in the past that like really needs editing, that kind of thing. So you can still feel like you're getting work done, and you are getting work done, but maybe it's just not on the one that you're frustrated with or like having trouble with.
Yeah, someone in the chat said earlier, write the scene you're really excited about, and that does help me if I can.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do that if I'm just with a scene and I'm like, I don't want to write this, but I really want to write the scene that happens, 2 scenes after this. I'll just write it because like I can.
Yeah,
and at least you're writing.
Do what you want.
All right, do we want to start our last sprint at the 45?
That sounds
beautiful.
Sure.
Awesome. This prompt is called Mac and Cheese. Have your character say a cheesy pickup line to someone.
Oh, yes.
I love it.
Perfect.
All the prompts make me so hungry lately.
When I was trying to come up for the prompts, I just put a whole bunch of Thanksgiving words, and I was like, what can be a prompt from this? I had like turkey and like parade. It was a process.
Let's answer this last question really quick. Alyssa asked, do you have any tips for writing from your villain's perspective?
Give your villain goals is like my best villain advice, because your villain has things that they want to accomplish too. So have them do that.
And I think if your villain, a really good villain, I think, is sympathetic in a way, even if that reader knows that they're a villain. They should still be engaging and either sympathetic or interesting.
And make sure that your villain is as much work as the protagonist is doing. Your villain also needs to be doing that much work. Like nothing is more frustrating than it when I'm reading a book and it's like, well, what is the villain doing during all this time? Shouldn't they have won by now because the hero is taking so long?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
Yeah. All right, it is the 45. This is our last sprint of the night, and we will be done at the 05. I can math.
Yeah.
and time. So how'd it go?
Good.
Nah.
Nah.
My word counts are going down with every sprint. It's like 127 this time.
Somehow mine went down from last time.
I got super distracted this time too, so I only got like 200 words.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
This time I was trying to find a picture that matched one of my characters, so it was a different form of distraction.
Wait, I'm not writing either. We've got people sharing their word counts in the discussion section. You guys are doing so much better than I did. And if I missed your question, now is the time to re-ask it because I did not see it if you asked it and I have not addressed it yet. That was our last sprint of the night, so we'll be wrapping things up soon. Oh, here's a question from Rye. How do y'all write when you're stressed?
I don't.
Not writing, it stresses me out. So.
Yeah, I'm the same.
That's true. I'm not a great person to be around when I'm not writing.
It depends, like, if it's a full-on anxiety thing, in which case I'm useless and don't write, or just like actual stress, in which case I'll just like put my giant headphones on and block out the world and write, and it actually helps.
If it's like anxiety stress, I can't like focus, so nothing's gonna get done, and I'm just gonna feel more stressed because I can't focus. So.
Exactly.
I'm experiencing this a little bit right now because I am on a very tight deadline, which is giving me both just normal stress and the anxiety kind of stress, where you lay in bed and just breathe heavy and spiral. And it's not fun, and you just kind of have to accept that your word count isn't going to be as high as it would otherwise and find ways to work around it. So for me, what I've done this week is I talked to someone else, in this case, my husband, and said, I have to finish this thing. Please help keep me accountable. Please ask me if I'm doing the thing. And if I'm not, and that starts to give me anxiety, please help me find a scenario in which I can go into my office or go to the coffee shop and write. Because sometimes it's just like, you're so stressed that you can't even fathom just sitting down and working on it. And I just need someone to be like, Megan, shut up, go write. Similarly, we had a question about balancing school and Nano, which I know we've talked about before. I don't want to say Emma did a video on it.
I did do a video on it. And I am taking the last bit of my advice from that video and not worrying about winning Nano. It is less important than passing my classes. So I can finish this book after the semester's over.
I'm finding the link to that video also for you. And I'll put that in the discussion section.
I would say, like, combining anything with trying to do Nano, like, it's really all about time management and figuring out a way. And so that's where, like, I could have maybe won this year, but last weekend I did not manage my time. And like let myself get more behind, and then like it was kind of over from there for me. So just kind of depends, I think, like on how far behind you are, how much other stuff you have to do, and your priorities for that. But don't stress too much about winning Nano when you have other important things that need to be done.
Oh, this is a really interesting question from Winry 101. how do you make sure when your characters speak, they actually sound like different people?
Ooh.
For me, I know I make sure that either a character has a distinct personality trait, that all of their worldview essentially is filtered through that. So maybe they're really positive, maybe they're a glass is half empty person. So they're going to say things that somebody else wouldn't say. Or sometimes I'll give them like a specific way of speaking. So they would, the way they actually phrase things is different.
I would highly recommend reading the Raven Boys if you want to like study someone who does that well. Maggie Stiefvater does a great job of having all of the dialogue. It's really strong and very distinct. Like, you probably wouldn't need a dialogue tag to know who said each line.
Yeah, that's a great example of, like I said, filtering through a character's attitude, because like Ronan has a very specific attitude about everything, attitude period, and everything he says is filtered through that and like short and sharp and not necessarily nice all the time.
And not going to be telling you what he's really thinking.
Yeah. So this is a great example of that. Yeah. So good suggestion.
All right, we got our Raven Boys quota in for the day.
Like conversely, you have Gansey, who's going to tell you in too many words exactly what you're thinking and feeling and how it relates to you.
Yeah, it's a good example.
I just wanted to put a plug in. If you are enjoying writing in and you don't want to stop, the Night of Writing Dangerously is going on right now. And it's the last one ever after 12 years of Nano doing it. And it's also the first time and last time that they are ever live streaming it. And it's going on now. So if you want to just have that great ambient sound of people writing, and I believe they're going to be running some word sprints too. I know for sure people are running them in the discussion section right now. I am putting a link to that in the discussion. So you can go check it out.
Were there any more questions, or are we good to call it?
I think we're good to call it. If we missed a question, I apologize. I did not mean to. There's a decent chance we have answered a similar question before, though. You can check out our library of videos by going to wordnerdsvlog.com, and there you can like search by topic and stuff. So I would recommend that if we missed you. And also, we're here every week in November.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us and writing all of the words with us. It's been a blast. Join us next week, next Sunday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're having another write-in, and we will see you guys there. Bye.
Bye.